I played every Super Smash Bros. Game, Part 2. So in Part 1, I covered Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64, Super Smash Bros. Melee for the GameCube, and Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Nintendo Wii. In this video, I'll be covering the rest of the games. There's really not much introduction I can do here, so let's get right into it. Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 3DS was released in 2014 for, well, the Nintendo 3DS. A lot of people also call this one Smash 4. This one's interesting because it was released around the same time as Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, within a couple of months of each other in fact. These two games are unique in that they share the same roster and the same gameplay balance, with the main difference being the stages and the modes that are available. For the sake of this video, I am going to consider them two separate games though. Because of this, I'll only be talking about the amiibo functionality and some other stuff in the Wii U version. Additionally, I'll only be talking about DLC in the Wii U version since the rosters are identical anyways. Just keep in mind that all of the base roster and DLC characters that are available in the Wii U version are also available in this version. There's also a couple of other minor things I'll wait until the Wii U version to mention as well. So starting with this game, they moved away from the brownish, earthy colors we saw in Brawl and went for more bright, poppy colors. In the 3DS version specifically, they also added outlines to every character that can be adjusted at will. The idea was that since you were playing on a really small screen, the outlines would make it easier to see your character through all the chaos. Honestly, when I played this on my 3DS originally, I would just turn them off. For the video though, I'll keep them on. The outlines do have some charm and make this game stand out. Gameplay wise, this feels significantly faster and less floaty than Brawl. The tripping is gone and the game feels super responsive. It's not quite as speedy as Melee, but it's definitely in a good place. They've also widely expanded the items, and the final smashes have a little bit higher production value this time around. So this game actually cut a few characters. Solid Snake, Lucas, Ice Climbers, and Wolf were all removed outright. The Pokemon Trainer was technically removed, but Charizard was retained as a playable character by itself, meaning that both Squirtle and Ivysaur were also cut. The game also split up Zelda and Sheik into separate characters, along with Samus and Zero Suit Samus. I believe this was due to the 3DS's technical limitations because the game was already pushing the 3DS to its limits. The newcomers in this game are Shulk, Greninja, Villager, Rosalina and Luma, Bowser Jr., Palutena, Little Mac, Robin, Wii Fit Trainer, Duck Hunt, Mega Man, Pac-Man, and the Mii Fighters. There's also a couple of new clone characters, which are Lucina and Dark Pit. The new stages in the 3DS version are pretty expansive too, though they focus mostly on stages from handheld games. 3D Land, Golden Plains, an Untangdog stage, and even a Tomodachi Life stage. The game also introduced a new concept in the form of Omega stages, but I'll talk about those in the Wii U version. The modes in Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS are Smash, Online, Challenge, Smash Run, Games and More, and the Street Pass and Wii U connectivity. The Smash modes are Solo and Group. Solo is just a single-player battle mode versus up to 3 CPUs. You select your character and the rules. This time around, the only options are time and stock battles. You can still mess with stuff like item availability and stage choices though. From there, you select your stage and you fight like normal. The second mode is Group Mode, which lets you play locally with other 3DSs. The next modes I'll talk about are those in the Games and More menu. In this menu, you can find Solo, Group, Vault, Custom, and Amiibo modes. So for some reason, they decided to bury stuff like Classic Mode inside of a bunch of menus, rather than making it prominent like they have in the past. I don't fully understand why, but I guess maybe they were trying to promote some of the newer modes to get people interested. I really don't know. Solo modes include Classic, All-Star, Stadium, and Training. What's interesting is that All-Star mode is available right off the bat. However, it only features the characters you've already unlocked. Classic mode on the surface seems like previous games, but is actually the biggest departure so far. You choose your character and then you choose an intensity, which is the difficulty level. However, picking any intensity higher or lower than intensity 2 costs you gold, and the further from 2 you get, the more gold it costs. Once you select your intensity, you're put on a game board with branching paths. As you approach a path, you can choose which to take. Every path has a gold reward, but some give more gold at the expense of a slightly more difficult fight. As the fight commences, there's a brief time where a little lottery machine like wheel spins and you can stop it and possibly earn a bonus, like extra trophies or coins for winning the match. At the end, depending on your difficulty, you can choose a path to fight Master Hand or a path to fight both Master Hand and Crazy Hand. However, if you choose a high enough difficulty, there's only a path to fight Master Hand and Crazy Hand. Additionally, fighting Master Hand and Crazy Hand on a high enough difficulty causes a new boss to appear. Master Core appears once you damage Master Hand and Crazy Hand enough, and this boss is pretty different. It has multiple stages, and each stage plays completely differently. At the end, the final stage is just a small ball that you have to keep on damaging to knock it off. It'll keep on trying to come back to its starting point, but once you hit it and knock it off, you win. Once you complete the classic mode, the credits roll, and this time instead of it being an on-rails shooter type thing, you're instead hitting the credits with your actual character to reveal an image in the background. The more you reveal, the more gold you get at the end. It's nifty and fun, I kinda like it. All-Star mode, like I said earlier, is unlocked straight from the start. There are 3 difficulties: easy, normal, and hard. This time, rather than throwing the enemies at you at random, the enemies are sorted by the years they were first introduced. This is a super neat concept, and it's fun to see kind of an evolution of gaming through this mode. This time there's also 3 different healing items instead of just the heart containers. Moving on, the stadium modes are Multi-Man Smash, Target Blast, and Home Run Contest. Multi-Man Smash is the same as previous games with a new extra mode called Rival Smash. In this mode, you select a character and fight against a CPU version of that character as you both attempt to defeat as many of the Mii fighters as possible. It's a fun new spin on an otherwise standard and predictable mode. Target Blast is the next mode, and it's entirely new to the franchise. I had trouble getting footage with this on the 3DS version, so I'll talk about it more when I cover the Wii U version. Same with the Home Run Contest. Custom mode is a totally new mode. The 2 options are Mii fighters and character customization. I'll talk about the Mii fighters here and the character customization when I talk about the Wii U version. Creating Mii fighters is a lot of fun and pretty involved. You select the Mii you want to use, and then you can select if you want them to be a brawler, a sword fighter, or a gunner. Each type has its own playstyle, strengths, and weaknesses. The customization options are equipment, specials, headgear, and outfit. Equipment is a series of items that increase certain stats but decrease others. You can equip up to 3 to either balance out your character or min-max everything as much as you want. In specials, you get to choose what abilities your fighter can do. You have 1 ability for the standard special and 1 ability for every directional special, and each one has a total of 3 options. You can also add headgear and costumes to the characters that you unlock just by playing. Once you've finished messing with your character's appearance, you can save them, and the character select menu gets a new slot for Mii fighters where you can choose the ones you want to use at any time. The final thing I'm going to talk about in the 3DS version of Super Smash Bros. Is Smash Run. I do have some bad news about Smash Run though. The footage I recorded for Smash Run was entirely unusable. I'll even show you. I was going to just show you some bootleg footage recorded with my phone directly from my 3DS, but I couldn't find my 3DS's charging cable. So my only option here is to tell you what Smash Run is. Smash Run is playable solo or in a group of connected 3DSs. When you've selected the mode you want, you then select all participating characters. When the game starts, everyone is put on a massive stage where you have to explore and find items while you fight enemies. The gameplay is pretty reminiscent of the Subspace Emissary from Brawl, and even has some of the same enemies. As you defeat enemies, they drop little stat boosts that increase your overall strength. At the end of this big exploration period, everyone is then thrown into a final battle where they all duke it out with the stat boosts and items they've earned. During the exploration stage, there's actually a few little mini games you can play too, including this game's version of a traditional target smash. Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS was pretty groundbreaking when it came out. Not only was everyone super hyped up for the Wii U version, a Super Smash Bros. Game had never come to a handheld console before. You could play Super Smash Bros. On the bus. You could play it with other people on the bus. That was huge during a time before the Nintendo Switch existed. I remember spending so much time playing this game because it was really just a handheld version of the Wii U game. Moving on to the Wii U game, Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U was released in 2014, just a couple of months after Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 3DS. So the roster in this game is identical to the 3DS version. This game and the 3DS version of this game, however, were the first in the series to receive DLC characters. The very first DLC character was technically Mewtwo, returning from Melee. If you purchased both the 3DS version and the Wii U version, you received Mewtwo as a bonus. I do believe they made him buyable later on, though. I honestly don't know because I had both versions. The next character was Lucas, returning from Brawl. The character after that was Roy, also returning from Melee. Roy was followed by Ryu from Street Fighter, who was the first brand new character to be introduced via DLC. Ryu not only came with his own special stage, he came with a very unique gameplay style. With Ryu, you actually had the option to use inputs similar to how you'd use them in an actual Street Fighter game. Of course, you could also just play him like a normal Smash character and he works just fine, albeit with slightly less effective moves. For example, tapping B uses his Hadouken. Using the down direction input before tapping B uses a more powerful version of his Hadouken. It's a super interesting mechanic that they didn't have to do, but they did it anyways, and they even made it optional. The next character was also a completely new character, Cloud from Final Fantasy VII bundled with a Midgar stage. The next character was Corrin, the playable protagonist from Fire Emblem Fates. Corrin unfortunately did not include a stage. I also believe Corrin was kind of the harbinger of one of the biggest criticisms of Super Smash Bros., but we won't talk about that in this video. The final DLC character was, shockingly, Bayonetta with the Umbra Clock Tower stage. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, every character also included a bunch of new special music too. This game shares stages with the 3DS version, but also has a bunch of stages exclusive to this version, mainly based on console titles. There's also some new cool stuff like the Super Mario Galaxy stage that actually has the curvature of the planets embedded in the stage. The game also introduced DLC stages. I mentioned a couple back when I was talking about the DLC characters, but there were also DLC stages you could purchase individually, with most of them being throwback stages to the Nintendo 64 Super Smash Bros. And one stage from Brawl. Speaking of DLC, there were also a couple of smaller DLCs in the form of custom Mii Fighter costumes. A lot of them were just random costume parts, but some of them were licensed characters, including Tails and Knuckles from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. I mentioned Omega stages when I was talking about the 3DS version, but I'll go into some more detail here. Omega stages are variations of the standard stages that remove all platforms and redesign the stages around a purely flat arena. This also comes with some aesthetic changes, but the soul of the stage is still there. I have to give some props to Nintendo here, because this was basically embracing the competitive community of Super Smash Bros. The Omega stages all have differing dimensions and lengths though, but it makes each one unique in this game. Oh, and this game has a massive variety of usable controllers, by the way. Nintendo actually created a Nintendo GameCube controller adapter specifically for this game so people could continue using their GameCube controllers on the Wii U. The adapter even works on the Switch. Outside of the GameCube controller, you can also use the Wii U gamepad, the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, the Wii Classic controller, the Wii U Pro controller, and even a 3DS wirelessly connected to the Wii U. I can't think of a single other game on consoles with this many control options. Even the newest Super Smash Bros. Game doesn't have as many options as the Wii U version. It is absolutely wild. Now let's talk about that amiibo functionality. For anyone who doesn't know, the amiibo was a plastic figurine Nintendo introduced for Super Smash Bros. Each amiibo is based on a video game character. Originally, the amiibo were just limited to Super Smash Bros. Characters, but over time have expanded to a wide variety of characters from different things. The amiibos also have NFC tags built into their bases, meaning that you can use them in video games. In order to use an amiibo in Super Smash Bros., you first go to the amiibo menu and you have to grab the real-life plastic toy and touch it to your joypad, or 3DS if you're playing that version. Then you can choose to take ownership of the amiibo and even give a nickname to it. In order to increase the amiibo strength, you can have it consume some of your earned equipment. You can also customize the amiibo's abilities, and then when you're done, you hit OK and you tap the amiibo on the gamepad again in order to save the changes. From there, you can tap the amiibo during any normal versus match and the amiibo figure becomes a player. Specifically, a figure player. The more you use figure players in fights, the stronger they become. It's almost like training a Pokemon, but the Pokemon is a Super Smash Bros. Character that learns from your fighting style. The modes in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U are largely the same as the 3DS version, but I'll still list them here. There's Smash, Online, Smash Tour, Games and More, Challenges, and the 3DS connectivity. The Smash menu is a bit different here. There's Smash, Special Smash, and 8-player Smash. Of course, there's also the rules menu here, and I will mention that there's a couple of really interesting rule options. The main one I want to highlight is the random stage switch. The random stage switch allows you to enable or disable stages that can appear when you hit the random stage while selecting a stage. This means that you can create a rotation of stages you want to play while excluding those that you don't when you hit the random button, which is awesome for player agency. If there's a stage you don't really like, you won't accidentally get it when you hit the random button. You can also do the same for Omega Form stages. Special Smash returns in this game and works similarly to how it does in Brawl. You're able to select all the special modifiers and then play the game with those modifiers. Of course, the biggest new mode here, no pun intended, is 8-player Smash. In this mode, it's like the standard Smash but with 8 players, which can get super chaotic. Additionally, the stage selection is a lot more limited to accommodate for it, but this mode really is chaotic. However, it can be a lot of fun if you have a lot of people to play with. The Games and More menus include Vault, Solo, Group, Custom, and Stage Builder. The solo modes are Classic Mode, Special Orders, Events, All-Star Mode, and Stadium. I'm gonna do this one sort of out of order. The Stadium menu includes Target Blast, Multi-Man Smash, and Home Run Contest. I mentioned Target Blast in the 3DS version, but I'll go into a bit more detail here. It's kind of like a mixture of the Home Run Contest and Target Smash. There are 3 stages to choose from, each one with completely different layouts. Once you've chosen a stage, you then choose your character. From there, you're given 10 seconds to deal damage to the bomb, but dealing as much damage as possible isn't always the goal. Instead, you're trying to deal as much structural damage as possible to the walls around the targets, along with setting off as many of the bombs that are placed around the stage as you can. Once you've hit the bomb into the walls, you earn points for how many targets, structures, and smaller explosives you've destroyed. Also, if you don't hit the bomb away when the time runs out, it blows up and knocks you away instead, earning you no points whatsoever. Multi-Man Smash works the same as the 3DS version, and Home Run Contest doesn't have any significant changes. Moving on from there, we have All-Star Mode. All-Star Mode is almost exactly the same as the 3DS version, version, but instead of the enemies coming at you in chronological order from their first video game appearance, it's backwards. This means you'll run into the newest characters first and the classic characters at the end. This version also has an extra recovery item you can use, probably because of the addition of a bunch of extra characters. Classic mode returns, and so does the intensity selection. However, the presentation is completely different. You're on a big table and you choose which groups of enemies you want to fight. Plus, the groups can have more than 3 enemies because of this game's inclusion of higher player counts. You can also see the kind of reward you'll get depending on which group you tackle too. I think the classic mode in this game shakes up the formula enough to keep it pretty fresh, and I enjoy it significantly more than the way the 3DS version does it. The next mode is Event Mode, which returns from previous games. This time, the events are on a branching path. Each event has its special requirements, as always, but depending on how you complete an event, you earn different rewards. Sometimes, choosing the normal difficulty isn't always enough. Other times, you have to beat it under a certain time limit, and if you don't, you'll still clear it, just not fast enough to unlock the next branch. The final solo mode is Special Orders. This mode is unique and only appears in this version of the game, and only in this game. There are 2 versions, Master Orders and Crazy Orders. Master Orders is a mode where you spend gold to choose a ticket, and each ticket has a different kind of battle. The more expensive tickets have harder battles but better rewards. Also, not every order is a fight. Sometimes there'll be things like stadium events. There's really a ton of variety, and it's a great way to stay engaged as you unlock stuff in the game. The other Special Orders mode is Crazy Orders. In Crazy Orders, you can either spend gold to take a challenge, or use a pass that you can earn through playing other modes. This one works similarly to Master Orders, but this time you're trying to see how many tickets you can clear before you decide to stop. Also, you have a 10-minute overall time limit in this mode once you've begun. It's like survival, but you choose when it ends. Of course, the more you play it, the better rewards you get. Losing, however, loses most of your earned rewards for that session. To end the session, you choose the Crazy Hand ticket. Facing Crazy Hand is the only way to claim all the rewards you've earned. Oh, and did I forget to mention that you don't recover all of your damage between rounds? Going back to the Games and More menu, there's also group modes. Group modes allow multiple players to play Classic, Events, All-Star, and the Stadium modes. Most of the modes are similar with an added co-op element, but I do want to note that the events are completely separate and unique for this mode. The custom menu includes the Mii Fighter customization, which I covered in the 3DS segment, and also the character customization, which I'll talk about here. In this mode, you can select almost any fighter in the game. Once you've selected a fighter, you can customize their equipment and also their movesets. The equipment is the same as the Mii Fighters, offering stat boosts and various bonus effects. The move customization, however, is wild. This is the first and only time you can mess with the base movesets of the roster of Super Smash Bros. These moves aren't all unlocked at the beginning, and you have to earn them from playing the other modes. It's still crazy that you can modify almost every character in this way. The only exception is the DLC characters, who can still be customized with items, but you can't change any of their moves. Next, for Games and More, there's the Stage Builder. It works pretty similarly to the Brawl version, but with a bit more freedom and a bit more variety in the options. Unfortunately, this game's Stage Builder forces you to use the gamepad to lay out elements, but the game also had the advent of really fun and creative stages like Smashketball and tons of other stuff, like a mode where the best way to win is just to use the cannons to launch yourself into everyone else. Unless that was just me. Finally, for the Games and More section is the Vault. The Vault includes trophies, replays, album, movies, sounds, records, tips, and masterpieces. Trophies returned and the presentation is updated, but they're otherwise the same. There's a ton of trophies in this game though. The gallery has tons of information for each one, and you have the ability to look at every trophy from all angles, as is tradition. You also have the ability to change the background of the trophy and get a different look and different lighting. The Trophy Horde also returns and brings back the ability to pose and take photos of the trophies you have. You have a bit more freedom in how the trophies are positioned this time though, and once you've taken the photo, you have the option to write little messages on them, likely for the Wii U's Miiverse, but I won't talk about Miiverse right now since it's shut down anyways. There are 2 methods to directly get trophies, the shop and Trophy Rush. The shop is about as straightforward as it gets. You use your earned gold to buy trophies. Once you've bought a trophy, its slot in the shop is emptied for a set period of time before the inventory refreshes. Sometimes certain trophies are also on sale and you can get them for a lot cheaper for a limited time. The other way to get trophies is Trophy Rush. In Trophy Rush, you spend 6 gold per second of desired playtime, and then you begin. The goal is to destroy blocks that fill up a special meter, and once the meter's filled, a bunch of coins, trophies, items, and custom moves will begin to fall from the sky. As they fall, you can destroy them to earn them. As you play this mode though, various hazards will come down to knock you away from the stage, and falling off the stage and getting KO'd actually incurs a penalty where the stage disappears and drops anything you had stacked before you respawn. I really love this mode though and always have a great time playing it. Moving on in the Vault, there's replays, albums, movies, sounds, and records. I'm kind of just glossing over these because they're exactly what you'd expect and are pretty self-explanatory at this point. The last thing I'll talk about in the Vault is the masterpieces. Masterpieces return from Brawl, but this time they actually show the associated character, and also we see some third-party masterpieces like Mega Man and Pac-Man. The masterpieces, for the most most part, are a little bit older this time and don't touch on any console past the Super Nintendo. Also, I need to note that you're definitely limited to only a select number of controllers. The GameCube controller, for example, does not work with Masterpieces. This time, the Masterpieces give you a live timer for how long the demo has left in the top right corner, and when the demo ends, you have the option to go directly to the eShop to purchase the game. Finally, we're on the last mode to cover in Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, and that mode is Smash Tour. Smash Tour is the special mode for this game, like Smash Run was for the Nintendo 3DS version. Smash Tour is like if Mario Party and Super Smash Bros. Had a baby. The idea is that you have a limited number of turns to collect stat boost, items, and fighters. There's 3 maps, small, medium, and large. Once you've selected a map, you select how many turns there will be. Then, you select the Mii you want to use. From there, the game begins. You do a Mario Party style roulette wheel where you press the A button to stop the spinner on the number of spaces you can move. Then you move in whatever direction you want. On the game board, there's stat boosts, characters, and items you can earn. Every new turn grants each player an item, and every item has different effects. Some shuffle every player position, some give you speed boosts, and some do things like double your roll results so you can move further. When you finish moving and land on a space, the game will move on to the next turn unless characters land on the same space. If that happens, a battle will commence. The battles aren't always straightforward though. Sometimes it's a team battle, or only a certain kind of item will spawn. I'm gonna be honest, I'm just not a huge fan of these kinds of battles. For example, the boss Galaga battle type is, in my opinion, just plain not fun. You're not really having a battle, you're just scrambling to pick up as many of those items as possible without accidentally touching the boss Galaga, which is pretty much a guaranteed death. It's not fun, and really it's completely up to luck, which some people might like, but I personally don't. If you KO others during the battles, you earn the fighter you KO'd. If you're KO'd, you lose the fighter you lost. The entire game is essentially earning and losing fighters while you run around getting stat boosts. Once all the turns are up, there's a final battle, but before that battle, the game gives extra characters as rewards for certain actions, like having a certain number of spaces. Again, like Mario Party at the end giving you extra bonus stars. The final battle is a straightforward battle, but having more characters will definitely put you at an advantage because the more characters you have, the more stocks you have, basically. However, you don't win based on how many lives you lost. Instead, you win based on how many characters you defeated. This means that even if you only have one fighter you can use, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily gonna automatically lose. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I'm just not the biggest fan of this mode. It's really cool in theory, but it doesn't at all match the way I liked playing Super Smash Bros. I'm sure it'd be fun if I had a really big group of friends to play with, but solo or just with a couple of people, I don't really think I'm a fan. Anyways, overall, Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U is a really solid package. This and the 3DS version are definitely a big improvement over Brawl in my opinion. Unfortunately, this game is a lot of fun and has a lot of really good content, but I think it ends up getting overshadowed by the next and final game. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was released for the Nintendo Switch in 2018. The whole motto at its announcement was, "Everyone is here." And oh boy, they were not kidding. Not only is every single playable character who ever appeared in a Super Smash Bros. Game here, there's also a ton of new characters. The entire roster plus the DLC from the 3DS and Wii U return, along with the Ice Climbers, the Pokemon Trainer, Solid Snake, and Wolf. We also see the return of Dr. Mario, Young Link, and Pichu. The brand new characters are the Inkling from Splatoon, Ridley from Metroid, Simon Belmont from Castlevania, King K. Rool from Donkey Kong, Isabelle from Animal Crossing, and Incineroar from Pokemon. This game also gave an official name to what we originally called clone characters. They're now rebranded officially as Echo Fighters, and this game introduced quite a few of them. We now have Daisy, Chrom from Fire Emblem, Ken from Street Fighter, and Richter from Castlevania. There were also tons of DLC characters. Here they are in order: Piranha Plant from the Mario series, Joker from Persona 5, the Hero from Dragon Quest, Banjo and Kazooie, Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury, Byleth from Fire Emblem, Min Min from ARMS, Steve from Minecraft, Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles, Kazuya from Tekken, and Sora from Kingdom Hearts. That's a lot of characters. Every DLC character also included their own stage. Speaking of stages, this game includes almost every single stage from the entire history of the series. In fact, there's only a few stages missing. On top of that, every stage has an Omega form and a newly added Battlefield form that gives it a Battlefield-style layout with the stage's original aesthetic. Oh, and the Omega forms are now all the same size. There's just so much variety in the roster and the stages, it is insane. As for the visuals here, on the surface, they don't look too much different from the Wii U game, but they are definitely definitely improved across the board. The quality and expressiveness of every character has been increased, the lighting is better, and even the visual effects are better. There's a few videos on YouTube if you want to look at a direct comparison, but trust me, this game looks way cleaner from any previous Super Smash Bros. Game. There's also a bunch of presentation upgrades too. Now when you're playing against one other opponent, the final hit that KOs you or the opponent has a zoom in slowdown effect that's super cool and hype inducing. They even gave a couple of characters custom victory screens. Speaking of presentation upgrades, final smashes in this game also get a huge presentation upgrade over previous games. Not only are they way flashier, most of them have been reworked to remove the wonky player controls and instead are streamlined to just do damage automatically. That way you're guaranteed some kind of damage from your final smash. That means that most final smashes are as effective as any other and you won't have to leave anything up to chance. Some other gameplay changes include extra interesting control styles for some characters, including new mechanics made up entirely for certain characters. And while I won't go into too much detail about these for time, there's definitely something for everyone in this game, especially if you have all the DLC. The modes in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate are Smash, Games and More, Vault, Spirits, and Online. There's also a secondary menu that includes the Spirit Collection, Local Wireless, News, and the Options and Help menus. The Smash modes include Smash, Squad Strike, Tourney, and Special Smash. Smash mode in this game works about as you'd expect based on previous games. However, they did make some changes to the menus in this game. Now, when you start playing a game, you have to choose a rule set. You can save different rule sets with different parameters to get them quicker, and you can name them whenever you want. I really like this because it means that if you have different styles of play, you don't have to manually adjust it every time. The mode options are Time, Stock, and Stamina. There's also a new option called Final Smash Meter, which is a meter you can turn on that fills up over time to earn your final smash rather than just using the Smash Ball. There's really a ton of options here, and you can make as many rule sets as you like. Another change is that you now choose stages before you choose characters. I think it's better this way since some characters are better on some stages while other characters are worse on some stages. This time you can't get thrown a curveball because you picked the wrong character. There's also the option of choosing a random stage, a random battlefield style stage, and a random Omega Form stage. Squad Strike mode is a mode where you can have tag team fights of 3 versus 3 or 5 versus 5. There's also some modifiers, but I'm going to focus on the core rules. You choose your team and the opponent's team of 3 or 5 characters, and then you choose the battle order Pokemon Stadium style. From there, you fight with the characters you chose as stocks. It's pretty much like a standard stock battle, but you're able to use multiple characters. I like it, and it's a really nice little shake-up from the standard battles and makes them a bit more dynamic. Tournament mode returns, and this time you're actually able to play against computer opponents. It works pretty similarly to previous tourney modes, but there is a gigantic presentation upgrade, and you can actually choose the layout of the brackets, which is a pretty neat touch. Special Smash now includes 3 modes: Custom Smash, Smashdown, and Super Sudden Death. Custom Smash is just like previous game's Special Smash, and you can mess with a bunch of parameters to make your own custom little mode. Smashdown is a brand new mode where you play a series of fights, except once a character has been selected, that character is removed from the roster entirely until there are no characters left. At the end, the game tallies the total number of wins that the players have, and the one with the most wins overall wins the match. This is kind of a fun way to practice characters since you can't rely on using the same character every time. Plus, it's fun to watch the normally huge roster shrink over time. Moving on from Smash modes, we have Spirit modes. I need to quickly explain Spirits. Spirits are the big collectible in this game. There are no trophies, only spirits. The spirits are a lot like stickers from the 3DS and Wii U games, but they're postured to be way more important this time around. I'm kinda bummed that trophies are gone, but I guess spirits are fine. The modes in the Spirit menu are Adventure, Spirit Board, Collection, and DLC Spirits. First, I'll talk about the Spirit Board. The Spirit Board is a randomly generated board of spirits with varying difficulties. Challenging a spirit and defeating it unlocks it. You can also use items you've earned or bought to weaken or otherwise make it easier to unlock the spirit. When you challenge a spirit, you have to set up your team. Your team consists of primary spirits and support spirits. Every spirit also has a color alignment that's kind of like a rock, paper, scissors system. I'll get more into team selection later though. Every spirit board battle is against a character or characters who represent that spirit, usually in the form of specific color schemes. They get pretty creative and sometimes stretch it a bit with the spirit representation. Once you defeat a spirit, you have to fire a gun at the spirit while trying not to hit the shield. There are support items you can use to make this easier, but it's really not too hard. Of course, higher ranked spirits will have harder to avoid shields, but it's usually manageable. If you successfully shoot the spirit, you unlock it. Beating a spirit clears its space in the board, and there's a timer before the spirits reappear. Of course, the spirits themselves also have a time limit, so you have to decide quickly if there's a spirit you really want. There's also sometimes event spirits. While I was recording this, there was a Street Fighter event going on that made the spawn rate for Street Fighter spirits way higher. There's a secondary spirit board mode called DLC spirits. Every time the game introduced a DLC character, that character got their own special spirit board. These spirit boards feature characters from the game that the character came from. Defeating enemies on this board automatically unlocks a spirit, meaning that you don't have to do the little shield minigame. The final mode I'll talk about in the spirit menu is the Adventure mode. This is pretty much Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's premier mode. This game marks the return of the Adventure mode after it was absent in the Wii U and 3DS entries. Adventure mode is called World of Light and is this game's story mode. The difficulty options are very easy, normal, and hard. The story here has the high quality cutscenes that Brawl had, but this time there's some actual dialogue and the story is given a bit more context. Honestly, the cutscenes are legitimately way higher in production value too. The actual content of the story is shockingly similar to Brawl's. Everyone is turned into a statue type thing and your overall goal is to free them all. This time though, there are puppet versions of the characters that are evil and you have to defeat them to free them from the bad guys' control. Instead of Brawl's platforming adventure type maps, the adventure mode here takes place on a giant game board. This game board is legitimately huge and there's tons of branching paths with different things blocking the way, including enemies and map elements that are kind of like mini puzzles that you have to solve along the way. There might be a gate that's locked by a switch on the other side of the map, for example. Other times you might need a specific spirit to unlock a path, which requires you to leave the path you're on until later. Scattered on the map are spirit fights, and as you defeat the spirits, the map opens up more and more. There's this big fog of war that blocks your vision at first, but as it opens, you can truly see just how expansive this map actually is. The fights you run into with the spirits are kinda sorta representing the characters you're fighting. Defeating the spirit unlocks that spirit for you. When you encounter a battle, you have the option to choose your character and your equipped spirits. Some fights also have additional rules too, like making the enemy metal, forcing high winds on you, making the floor lava, and tons of other stuff. A lot of these rules can be negated though by equipping the right spirit. While it does take up a spirit slot, it's usually worth it to avoid the headache of some of the more annoying rules. If you don't feel like setting up your spirits, you can also auto-equip spirits that the game thinks will be good for the battle you're doing. Winning battles unlocks more and more spirits, but also increases the level of the spirits you have equipped. Increasing their level makes them more effective over time, and there's kind of like a prestige system where you can restart their levels, but I won't get into that. There are also these items you can earn from winning battles in and outside of the World of Light called snacks. Snacks can be used to manually level up your spirits too. There's small, medium, and large snacks. Each one progressively gives more and more experience. Of course, using the snack also costs some spirit points, but not usually enough to really worry about. As you progress in the game, you unlock these items called skill spheres. You can use skill spheres on the skill tree to permanently increase your stats in the World of Light mode for all the characters you use. Some of the nodes are just plain stat increases, some increase certain abilities' powers, and some reduce the effects of spirit battle rules like the strong winds and the lava floors. Once you've unlocked a node, it automatically activates, but you can turn them off at any time if you want. Something else you can find on the map are shops and dojos. Shops allow you to buy spirits, snacks, and support items with your spirit points. Each shop has its own inventory that refreshes after a certain period of time. Dojos allow you to train your spirits to have certain attributes, which is especially nice for the spirits that don't come with any built-in. You have the option to train up to 4 spirits in the dojo. You can wait over time for the spirit to learn the style, or you can spend some spirit points to just learn the style instantly. There's another activity you can do called exploring with your spirit points. You send spirits on expeditions to earn spirit points and items. There's no cost, but you do have to wait a matter of hours for the spirits to return. World of Light is a pretty solid mode. I think that while it's different from the Brawl story mode, it's super good in its own way. There's fair challenges, and if you think a fight is too challenging, you can always mess with your spirit lineup to make it a little bit better. The next menu is the Games and More menu. In this menu, you can find the classic mode, training, mob smash, home run contest, Mii Fighter customization, amiibo, and the stage builder. Just to get this out of the way, character customization does not return in this game. You can still customize all the moves of your Mii Fighters, but that's it. The actual base roster of characters all have only their stock moves. I assume the sheer number of fighters in this game would have been impossible to balance if they all had custom moves, so I definitely understand this decision. The mob smash mode is pretty similar to previous mob battle modes, but this time there's only 3 options. Sentry Smash, where you defeat 100 fighters, All-Star Smash, where you defeat every character but they're really easily launched, and Cruel Smash, which is exactly the same as previous games. Home Run Contest returns and it also has 3 modes. You can play solo, co-op, or versus mode, which is a first for the Home Run Contest. I'll only touch on the versus mode here since I can cover the new stuff at the same time. For starters, the presentation is greatly improved. The sandbag can now do crazy stuff like fly into the stratosphere, but as far as the gameplay changes go, the main difference is that the bat now only shows up when there's 5 seconds left. This means that you can't really use the bat to do much damage for the first few seconds. Otherwise, the mode works mostly the same. In versus mode, you get 2 tries and it goes back and forth between the players. Whoever wins gets a normal victory screen as if you just did a regular battle too. Now I get to talk about classic mode. Classic mode in this game is really awesome. Every character has their own route and almost every character has a boss battle at the end that isn't just Master or Crazy Hand. Once you've selected your character, you then select your intensity. This time it doesn't cost anything to choose a specific intensity, but as you win matches, the intensity increases higher and higher. This means starting with a higher intensity means the matches will get progressively harder. Of course, losing a match means you have to spend gold to continue and your intensity actually goes down a little bit. Every character has a bonus game in this one, and it's like a variation of Race to the Finish. There's this giant death wall approaching touching you, and the goal is to get to the end without the wall touching you. However, there's also these prize points scattered everywhere, and you kind of have to measure the risk versus reward for collecting them, since they can be pretty time consuming to get. It's a fun little mode. Finally, at the end of Classic Mode, you fight a boss, usually. There's a pretty nice variety of bosses here, including Master Hand, Crazy Hand, Giga Bowser, Ganon, and even Dracula. A fun little note, picking Sephiroth makes Classic Mode only boss battles. In his, you fight every boss in a big boss rush. When you complete the boss fight and end the mode, the game saves where you are in the intensity and locks it in. The intensities in this are tied to a really long banner image of every single character in the game. It's kind of fun seeing where you get on the banner. Once you've beaten it, you get the traditional credits rolling rail shooter. In this one, you're on a platform moving through space and you can fire an endless barrage of shots. When they hit names, you earn points. There's also some wireframe enemy ships that show up that you can destroy for some extra points. There's these point milestones that you get for hitting certain scores that unlock spirits and other stuff like Mii Fighter costumes. Once it's over, you get a nice piece of art and then you can see what you earn from the mode. So the final couple of menus here are the Vault and Online modes. In the Vault, there's sounds, replays, records, challenges, movies, tips, and the shop. I mainly wanted to mention sounds though. In sounds, you can listen to music and voices, but interestingly, you can also listen to playlists. The reason for this is because they added the ability to listen to music through your headphones while the system is in rest mode. This effectively turns your Nintendo Switch into a weird bulky MP3 player. I think this is super cool, but I don't know who's realistically using this feature the way it was intended. I'll also mention the shop. In the shop, you can use gold to buy spirits, music, and items. It's pretty straightforward. Finally, let's talk about the online modes. You've probably noticed I haven't really talked about the online modes in previous games, and that's because I don't really play Super Smash Bros. Online. It's one of those games where any kind of input lag or latency completely throws me off. The main reason I'm mentioning it here is because the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate online mode is the first one on a system where the online mode costs money to use. But even then, I'm not even going to talk about online battles. Instead, I'm going to touch on the shared content menu. In shared content, you can view the custom stages people have uploaded, videos, game replays, and people's Mii Fighters. My favorite thing to look at though is the wild custom stages people have made. You can either browse the menu or search the maps by ID or title. You can also just kind of sort them by popularity. If you find one you like, you can test it, and if you want to keep it, you have the option to save it to your Switch. A lot of these are just crazy artworks, but it's so much fun just scrolling through them and seeing people push the stage builder to its limits. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is my favorite Super Smash Bros. Game by a mile, and I say that as somebody who played the original when it first came out. A lot of people will disagree with me, I'm sure, but this game just has so much in it, but it doesn't feel bloated at all. Yeah, they took out trophies, but really, do you have time for trophies when there's just so much game to play here? I don't know, I just love playing this, and nowadays whenever someone says, hey, wanna play some Super Smash Bros., you can reasonably assume they mean Ultimate. I really love this game, and I think it'll go down as one of the all-time greatest games. And that's it for the Super Smash Bros. Series. Obviously, I didn't cover every single gameplay change or item addition, but I did try to cover every game pretty broadly to give you an idea of how the series has evolved over time. That being said, every Super Smash Bros. Game has its own merits, and each game is worth playing today if you've never tried them. I'm pretty sure there's a healthy community for each game too, you just have to kind of seek them out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video because I poured a ton of time into it. If you enjoyed this video or you enjoy this kind of content in general, please consider subscribing and liking this video. That goes a long way. Also, let me know in the comments which game is your favorite and what games you want to see me cover in the future. I'm already working on my next video, so I hope you look forward to it. Thank you all so much for your support. Have a fantastic day.